Vanakkam and welcome to Sadhana, South Africa's finest Hindu magazine show on S3 with me, your host, Alisha Gayapasad. It's time to get your hands messed in the kitchen with Radhika Gaundan, and thereafter we gather to witness the pure spiritual energy of the Sannyasa Spiritual Council of South Africa's third yatra. Running serves as a vivid example of how sports can be part of the practice of spirituality. It brings together the outer and inner dimensions of life to support and feed one another. Living up to this statement is the powerhouse Professor Reshma Sookraj. She is a true inspiration, and I had the pleasure to get inspired. In Hinduism, great souls tell us that work, when performed in the right spirit, is worship. Despite the challenges of surviving during the apartheid regime, today I am going to talk to Professor Reshma Sookraj to learn about her journey as an honorary professor, a Comrades Marathoner, and a devout devotee. Professor, I know that you are the definition of hard work. I'm saying this because off camera you mentioned to me something about completing and participating in 10 Comrade Marathon events. Now, if that's not hard work, then I really don't know what is. So I would love to know more about yourself.
Okay, undoubtedly, running the Comrades Marathon is a definition of hard work in itself. Actually, it is the largest and oldest ultramarathon in the world. And it's epic in the sense that it is against the backdrop of war. So Vic Clapham, he proposed the idea of the Comrades Marathon in memory of those South African soldiers that passed on in World War I. And he wanted this race to be a test of endurance, physical as well as mental endurance. I think the important thing is that if you don't train hard and work hard at whatever you want to do, there's no way that you would get through the race.
You are indeed a woman wearing many hats, and that itself poses as an inspiration to many others out there. But tell me, what was the inspiration and motivation for you to put forth a goal of participating and completing 10 marathon events?
Okay, I think my first moment of inspiration was my husband, Rohit Sookraj, who was already a seasoned runner well before I met him or married him.
All right.
And his family, he's got a legacy of runners.
I'm sure he's also your support system.
Oh, absolutely. He is there when I'm not, especially for the children. Yes, he's run several Comrades as well. The second moment of motivation came from the ex-Emil Sultan Technicon staff, and I see it as a sadhana. Actually, it's worship. The act or the art of running is an act of worship.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's sadhana. It is about, for many people, atonement of deeds. It is about mortification. It is about austerity. And austerity is very closely linked to our sadhana in terms of blocks on the path of spiritual development. So austerity is huge in a race like the Comrades Marathon. Pain is the phantom shadow that follows you all the way. It ghosts you, it really stalks you for every step that you take. So the whole notion of pain and mortification is quite well known in different religious parts of the world. And I think the issue of pain then brings to bear a spiritual sense that one would never ordinarily get.
We all can see that you embody Shakti from whatever you told me. I definitely can see that. Your book, Running to Finish, aims to inspire the youth. Can you tell me more about this book? And can I conclude by also saying that the title reflects your mindset as to you put something forward and you see it to the end?
I think Running to Finish was a book that's been in the back burner for a long time. And when I did the 10 Comrades Marathon and got the green number, I said to myself, if I cannot run it, I will write it. And so it became a kind of institutional obligation as well to me to attempt that book. And I used the moment of disaster to finalize a book in the 2021 COVID pandemic.
So it was during lockdown?
Absolutely. So it was yet one of those lockdown texts where pretty much nothing else was happening, and got myself into it and decided finally that that's part of something that was on my bucket list that I hadn't accomplished and that I should. And actually it was a tough book to write because it doesn't have the kind of suspense and the plots of a normal book. So I called it a memoir, and it reflects from the start to the finish and everything in between. And it's a slow read because that's how we run. It's a shuffle. So there's a start and a finish, and everything in between had to then be made spectacular as best as I could, and fitting in stories of Chatsworth largely, the Throb tragedy in 2000, which really broke our hearts. And that year we ran in memory of those young children, the youth who passed on there. So I've fitted in a lot of stories around that. So the book is essentially very atmospheric because it looks at just about everything around you as a runner. The side road warriors who are the spectators who are very big in all of this.
So can we see this comradeship as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and the spirit of Ubuntu as well?
Absolutely. The world is one world, the world is one village, and the Ubuntu. I am because you are. So I think the Comrades Marathon exemplifies the spirit of Ubuntu like in no other event. When you're at the start, it's a leveling field, it's a leveling ground. You could be a CEO of a company, you could be a highly trained neurologist or a surgeon, you could be someone who's a helper in a home, a nurse, a mother, a housewife, but you all are leveled to one particular point in the race, and that's the start of the Comrades Marathon. At the start, everyone gets up feeling, I have a race to run. So it's very important to understand that in spite of the number of global and world runners that come through and even win the race, like China and Russia, for example, it's not about your nationality anymore. You're not even recognized. Your country name would be on your badge, but that's about it. On that day, you are just one runner who is now expected to run 90 kilometers and with the help of the others. So it is the whole idea of my world is your world. We are all together in this, and it's no surprise to see people running with water sachets to help others. Please go ahead, and this is water for you. So a very element like water, for me is very significant in the Comrades, because when Krishna says, I'm the taste in water, and I think, wow, if you're the taste in water, take me through. You understand? So I think it's the whole idea of having this unity, it's having this sense of oneness, which the race exemplifies. And you must remember, the map is not the territory. Korzybski speaks about the map not being the territory. So when you start up, you are running into the dark, you're hurtling into the dark. It's below 10 degrees in Pietermaritzburg. And you're together in this. So you just run one after the other. You're just running behind running shoes. So that's the togetherness at the start of the race. Entire blankets of runners getting out, 23,000 of them. They create a cartography in unison like no other project or event in the world.
Fortitude and perseverance means to never give up on hope or confidence. Looking back at my conversation with Reshma ji, I can fathom the effort, perseverance and dedication one requires to reach such great heights.